thought that my first review of a game on the PlayStation 4 would be a re-release of a game originating on the PC. In fact, if you don't have a PS4, it's on the PC as always at a discount to boot at the time of this video's publishing thanks to the Steam holiday sales, and it's also on the PlayStation Vita. So out of those options, why did I get it on the PlayStation 4? One reason, and one reason only. This. The DualShock 4, my pinnacle of comfortability when it comes to 2D adventures. It's true that I could have just purchased the PC version and used the controller that way now that the Binding of Isaac has official controller support! Oh thank god, that was the ultimate reason why I couldn't get down with the original game when I looked at it last year. I'm not a piano player, guys. What I mean is that the keyboard controls didn't mix well with me, and if I wanted to use a controller, I needed to download third-party software. These hands were made for a controller, and I'm finally ready to give The Binding of Isaac another chance now that Rebirth has been released. A remake of the original built from the ground up on a brand new engine with added content, new music, and a graphical overhaul that makes the finished product look right out of the 5th generation of games. You know what, since I really skimmed over the original Binding of Isaac after my Super Meat Boy review, another game by Edmund McMillen, which I still recommend, let's just take this from the top once again. The main protagonist is a young boy named Isaac, and putting it very lightly here, he's not having a very good day. The voice of God one day tells Isaac's mom that he requires a sacrifice to prove her love and devotion to the Almighty One. Without hesitating, Mom grabs her kitchen knife and heads straight for Isaac, who escapes via a trap door that leads to the basement that also connects to a cave system, a dungeon, and a whole lot of otherworldly locations that... Ooh, yeah, okay. There's no doubt about it. The Binding of Isaac visually is a grotesque, vile exaggeration of biblical stories that's damn sure to offend someone, so if you're easily squeamish, regardless of the cartoonish nature of the graphics and animation, the mere sight of this game will undoubtedly be a turnoff. If you're like me, where browsing the internet for a large number of years has desensitized you to a multitude of things, some of which I can no longer unsee, then fear not, The Binding of Isaac will be nothing you haven't seen before. Laser shooting walking vaginas? Seen it, I think. Happy holidays, everyone. This here is a top-down shooter. Using the 4 face buttons, Isaac can shoot tears from his head like a gun to kill whatever's in his way and to find special treats inside objects like bonfires and spirals of shit. Stats can be increased when you do things like defeating bosses and collecting the spoils to either give you more power or something like a better firing rate. You can pick up bombs to use as a delayed secondary weapon or to locate hidden rooms by detonating certain walls. There's money to pick up to spend on shops that are behind locked doors you open with keys that can drop after clearing on a room, and the amount of enhancements you can discover is dumbfounding. You can get away by describing The Binding of Isaac as a macabre rendition of the first Legend of Zelda title at face value. Now here's the major difference though, the defining factor of what makes The Binding of Isaac its own beast. It's roguelike. Everything from dungeon layout, stage handicaps, enemies, what items you can buy from the shop, the item drops you can score from killings, what treasures await you in certain rooms is purely, utterly randomized. The objective of the game is set no matter what. After going through a few layouts of the basement, the cave, and finally the depths, you settle things with your mom in a one-on-one confrontation. A playthrough is never the same because of the random nature of the game, and even with bad luck on item layouts, completing a single run should only take about half an hour, 40 minutes tops. But folks, we haven't even scratched the surface on this one yet. Oh my god. This is one of those games where the more you replay it, the more new shit happens. That's the shortest and simplest way I could put it. On top of the numerous goodies and other things you can possibly find, you can possibly unlock more characters during repeated runs, more weapons you can possibly use in your next playthrough, and alternate versions of stages that may possibly appear after finishing the last layout. You may notice that I'm throwing the word possibly out there a lot because besides the fact that you spend $15 on this and the game starting up, there's a fuckload of things that are so reliant on randomness, the game's RNG, random number generator to use that term. Dare I say, your enjoyment of the game, more importantly, your first impressions is another factor that can be decided by The Binding of Isaac's RNG. You may spend the first 2 to 4 hours getting your ass kicked because the game decided to throw some difficult challenges your way early on, or perhaps the upgrades you got were so unprofitable that they weren't really upgrades to begin with. On the flip side, maybe you got some nifty power-ups as early as the first item room, combined with a super powerful upgrade from a devil room that could potentially spawn after defeating a boss. It's all up to the game. This makes reviewing The Binding of Isaac tricky. I can see where and how the game shines. I can see why people spend 200 plus hours on this, and that's not an exaggeration. I mean, who the hell knows how many different layouts and possibilities exist within the game's code? And that's just the main campaign. There's also the challenge mode, where your equipment is set, but everything else is a wild card. I like slow roll. You pretty much shoot a gigantic tier that has an abysmal firing capacity, but it flattens everything like a steamroller. How do you approach and tell people about this particular game when your personal experiences were average, to say the least, and that it's not entirely under your control? I don't find anything inherently wrong with The Binding of Isaac. I'm grateful that I have official controller support now. I think Isaac controls just fine. I didn't encounter any bugs or glitches, and the game is challenging in a hard but fair manner. Nothing cheap, no bullshit, even when shit is all over the place in many different colors. Rainbow shit, people, that's a thing in this game.
After failing to reach the end for the 8th time in a row, do I blame myself or was luck just not on my side yet again? By the way, bad luck or not, this game is addictive, like gambling while eating potato chips. I think because a single run only lasts around 30 minutes, even when you know that dying sends you all the way back to the very start, you keep going because maybe, just maybe, luck will be on your side this time. I'm unlocking trophies up the wazoo, I'm getting more characters to play as I do stuff, I believe. Things are happening. The game is telling me things are happening even when the results aren't immediately apparent. Except when I triggered that boss rush. Holy shit, that was intense. But I managed to hang in there, damn it. For a while, I was putting 10 hours into this game per day. Per day! What do I have to show for that? Looking back, not much in my opinion. I don't have any strong feelings towards most of the characters I managed to unlock. Some are only diverse in terms of minor stat differences, a factor which I think means absolutely nothing because great item synergy ultimately decides how well you'll perform unless you're actively doing a minimalist run. Early on, I insisted on sticking with Eve because I liked how she got a damage buff when low on health. When I unlocked Azazel though, he's all I used. He has flight so he can fly over pits and awkward layouts, and his weapon, though short range, is fucking brutal, and at times, I was able to even counterbalance that by getting awesome add-ons like Brimstone. Oh god, I love Brimstone. A giant laser that rips through everything. Even better when you collect the triple or quadruple shot item. Here it comes, BAM! Complete decimation. That feeling, the power you can get when you happen to get great items, whether it kicks serious ass by itself or complements another item and thus makes an even greater weapon, was negating my animosity towards my previously failed attempts to some degree. I do my best when the RNG isn't completely agreeing with me, that or I reset the game about 20 times until I get a good starting item, but to see my little Isaac grow more and more into a demonic badass that's capable of thwarting Satan is sincerely amazing. To see everything that the Binding of Isaac Rebirth offers is a task that requires the utmost of dedication, and most importantly, and I'll say it again and again until my fingers are worked to the bone, luck. Are you willing to go against those odds, to roll those dice and attempt to enjoy the awesome tools and methods of completing dungeons when you get them? If so, then have at it. The Binding of Isaac Rebirth will deliver on the goods. You better be ready though. When you're looking for specific things, the means to access new content like bosses or challenges, The Binding of Isaac sort of becomes what I classify as a guide game, kind of like Zelda 1 if we're going back to that comparison. You won't know what a new or previously undiscovered item does until you pick it up, which at that point is impossible to get rid of in case it's harmful to your current standing. The game is vague on what certain things do and how to reach new places, and I'm sure that was intentional for the sake of having you replaying the game again and again until you find your answers, if that happens at all. You're going to spend a long time on this one, and I can only hope luck is on your side for the duration. The Binding of Isaac Rebirth is not for the faint of heart, and I'm not just saying that for the sake of a visual pun or the game's visuals period. I'm more of a Super Meat Boy guy than a Binding of Isaac player, but hey, kudos to the development team. For how much the game is being sold for, they sure did produce a game with a shitload of replayability and total play time.
From all of us here at Somecallmejohnny, which is just me, I wish you all happy holidays and a glorious new year. Now speaking of that, I'm looking to make 2015 a great year for this channel. I'll be going back to previously visited franchises in celebration of new stuff coming out, and be on the lookout for any curveballs I may decide to throw your way. Could be reviews of new games or old. Hey, it might even be a cartoon somewhere in there. I haven't done one of those in a while. I did go to school for that sort of shit. You'll just have to wait and see. So for my first order of business of 2015, well, I've got this box here, and it's filled to the brim with stuff that fans have donated to me throughout the past year, and I think it's finally time we open this baby up. But what will come first? Oh, looks like a grab bag, isn't it? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what it is until the time comes. In the meantime, thank you all for your wondrous support throughout 2014. You guys have yourself a fantastic night, and most importantly, take care.